Hello, hello. This is Nick from JangaFX, and man, are we excited to show you what we've got going on for today. I am really excited. We've got a pretty good stream here. Hopefully, this one is more on the professional side, and you can see what I'm repping today. As for the product shirt, and so we're really excited to show you LiquiGen, show you GeoGen, show some improvements that are coming to EmberGen. The stream should be fairly quick, especially a lot quicker than, say, our live training streams. And I think this is probably the most viewers we've ever had. I think I saw like 380 people waiting. So either way, we're a lot more prepared for this one because this is probably the biggest stream we've ever done. One of our biggest announcements in general, to just show two huge product updates and things like that. So really excited about it. And I've also got a different setup now where I can see the chat and OBS and all kind of other stuff. So hopefully I can click the right buttons and transition into the right thing. So we'll see. And really hope you guys fill out the LiquiGen survey that's in the description after the stream or whatever. We want to know what you want inside of LiquiGen. We want to make sure that we support the exports that you want. Let us know if you are working in games or film or whatever, and just kind of say what you want in that survey. So this is going to be cool. And then somebody says, is this recording? Absolutely. So this is going to be awesome. It'll be on this same link afterwards if you miss something. Cool. All right. So without further ado. So welcome to the Q2 2023 live stream. If you don't know, these quarterly live streams, at least we try to do them quarterly, are for JangaFX product updates, news, and more. So let's get started. All right, so some general business updates. We're now at 21 people on the team. We hired our first intern ever, and so that's pretty cool. So if you do simulations and or art or things like that, and you want to submit a application to be an intern, we don't have any more positions right this second, but it is something that we're looking into, and we do like 3-month internships during the summer and whatnot. So pretty cool. And then we hired 2 new simulation and rendering programmers for EmberGen 2.0, and so that's pretty neat. And I think that's pretty much the general biz updates. And so the next thing is a community showcase. So just real quick, I put together about a minute and 30 seconds of community showcase. One thing is from a studio, I believe, and then the rest is just individual artists. And so hopefully if you submitted, your shot made the cut. If it didn't, it was probably because it wasn't the right resolution. And so here we've got a pretty cool ink shot. This right here is from Superman and Lois from Kalos Studios. All the fire that you see there is EmberGen, and unfortunately the smoke was Houdini. But here pretty much everything's EmberGen, and was pretty cool. This is in Unreal Engine 5, I believe. Some pretty neat fire. And unfortunately, I don't have any more details about a lot of the rest of these shots. They were just some interesting submissions, which was pretty cool. Got some cool character transitions. Very awesome train. If you didn't know, I'm a huge fan of trains. I have a shirt that says, "Watch out." I might spontaneously talk about trains. Some cool AR stuff. Really cool mummy visual effects shot recreation by Royals and Rogues, which is pretty awesome. And this is from the Endless Engines Challenge. We got some cool stuff there. And actually, I just want to go back just real quick because it's so quick you might miss it. There's some little dust puffs from the snow. Got a really cool planetary shot and really neat underwater shot. Some more Endless Engines. And a really cool explosion rendered straight from EmberGen. And then finally, ending it with a house that's been blown up and is on fire. So really cool stuff from the community showcase. Pretty awesome. So thank you for everybody who submitted that. I appreciate it. And so here we'll go full screen again. I appreciate your submissions. Feel free to email us with anything if you guys have stuff to show. Always happy to throw it into a community showcase. Back to the presentation. So, regardless, we've got some Mac OS support updates. So, pretty interesting. Not a whole lot of news here, but we're going to show you something. Dun, dun, dun. What is it? It is EmberGen, the sparse EmberGen loading on Mac. This is something that we've been working on for a little while. This is a big step for us. Though it's not actually showing a simulation, just the fact that it renders our UI with the custom API and stuff that we've built, because we don't really use any libraries for anything, just the fact that it launches is really, really awesome. And I just noticed in the comments, Halo VFX says, gutted that he didn't make it in. I swear I had it in the shot. I can't believe it didn't make it either. I might have had it, like the eyeball turned off on that layer. That sucks. I'll link it in the chat after the stream. I promise. Or feel free to send the link here in chat if people want to watch it. So yeah, so Mac OS is a big thing that we're working on. We have a few people on the team dedicated to Mac right this second, and we want to make sure that LiquiGen and GeoGen launch on Mac. So pretty interesting. And let's see, next thing. So EmberGen. So basically 1.0 and forward updates and kind of our goals. So if you didn't know, the Linux EmberGen is available right now, and you can grab that from any download page on our website. And we support quite a few Linux versions, which is pretty interesting. And then for the roadmap, between 1.0 and 2.0, the updates aren't going to be sparse, so to speak, pun intended. But we do have some things planned, and we'll show you some cool stuff here in just a second on our EmberGen live demo. But basically, we're going to do some pretty big collision updates. For instance, if you want to, simulate things like smoke traveling down a pipe or whatever, that's pretty difficult in EmberGen right this second. But hopefully, with our demo that we're going to show you, you can see kind of the implications of the things that we're going to implement. I hope to have some sweeping UI improvements. There's a lot of new widgets and ideas that I have that I want us to implement. There's also some particle improvements that I want us to pursue. We plan on shipping a Python API for scripting and automation. Now, Python, I don't believe with the system that we're going to choose that you have to program in Python. It's going to be more of a server side implementation where you can make like HTTP calls and things like that. If I'm wrong, team correct me, but I believe that that's the thing. But you will be able to use Python or Lua or whatever you want to start building your own scripts and automations. We're going to do wedging and batch processing. So if you want 100 fire variations or whatever it happens to be, you'll be able to do that. We're going to have some bug fixes because there's quite a few nasty export bugs and import bugs and things like that that we want to fix during 1.0. And then just want to mention no Mac OS is going to happen during the 1.0 series of updates. Now, what are our goals for 2.0? 2.0 is our huge EmberGen rewrite. We are completely rewriting EmberGen from scratch, minus the UI. So that's going to come with a full sparse solver. We're going to have Mac OS support from day one. We will be able to do 1 billion active voxel combustion simulations with a 24 gigabyte GPU. If you have 48 gigabytes, you'll be able to do 2 billion active voxels. And you can also do, I believe, up to 5 billion active voxels on 48 gigabytes if you're using, say, only the smoke component. So you'll be able to choose what components you want and then that'll let you simulate much larger simulations, which is going to be really awesome. We're also going to have HDRI support, which is huge for photorealism, for your smoke and your fire. It's going to have much faster rendering compared to 1.0, and I misspelled it. Shame on me. And then much faster simulations compared to 1.0, and then many more voxels compared to 1.0. Just for comparison, you can do about, I think, 250 million voxels right now in EmberGen 1.0. And if you compare that to the 1 billion active voxels in the sparse version, it's a huge upgrade. So let's do a little bit of a live demo. So let's go ahead and load this thing, and then make sure that I do my transition. Here we go. Voila, look at that. So professional. All right, so here we can see a interesting simulation. So this is EmberGen 1.0 and some of the collision improvements that we're going to have. This is kind of a engine intake and exhaust valve kind of simulation. Really interesting to see. Sorry if it's lagging on stream. I see my stream over there. This is pretty computationally intensive. But regardless, it's quite interesting. And I hope that it shows through the kind of the complexity of this. So this is really cool. And let me know if on stream it's lagging or not. I can't tell. And let me just check my display capture settings real quick. Automatic. Blah. Okay, cool. Hopefully it's really fast on stream. I can't tell. All right. And so it looks like it moves pretty quick whenever I move it. So maybe it's just the sim. Like I said, this is very computationally intensive to do these things, unfortunately, and it's taking up all the bandwidth. But we can go ahead and open a couple more demo projects. So in this case, we are filling up a mesh, which is quite interesting. And so imagine this is like a bunch of pipes and things like that. Looks like this one is performing a lot better on stream. And so you will be able to fill up pipes and all that stuff. Your smoke's not going to be lost. This is going to be super awesome whenever this is actually in. Right now, these simulation bounds are really small because of how much of a performance hit the collisions do. But we're going to improve the collisions quite a bit, and it's going to be really awesome. And so the next little demo, which I believe this one is quite cool, to also show off kind of the implications here. And so this is going to lag too, unfortunately, but I swear it's running at like 30 frames a second on my computer. But regardless, you've got smoke that's just kind of traveling down a bunch of things, and the pressure gradient is pushing the smoke towards the exhaust. So really cool. And actually, let me open the project real quick on the double piston, and let me just show you the simulation visualization so you can see the different airflow and kind of how this works. So really cool to see the pressure solver working its magic, and this is kind of the beef behind the new collision solver. So really cool to kind of see all the different airflow. So really awesome. Man, I'm excited about this whenever it actually works. So we also have this. So we've got a small slit, kind of like a negative cutaway from the geometry, and then we've got a small thing in the way, and then the smoke is then finding the smoke and the fire and just finding its one path through that small crack. So really interesting to kind of see what you could do here with these new collisions. We also kind of have something similar to a stovetop that we want to show. So imagine that you have like a burner flame, like a Bunsen burner or something like that. Really interesting collisions happening there. And this is something that you couldn't normally get with our current EmberGen. These collisions are very accurate, and it's just not something that you would find in current 1.0, but hopefully between 1.0 and 2.0 this will come out. And I think we have one more preset to load. And so this one is, I'm sure this one's going to lag like hell because it's lagging on my computer. But you can see here, we've got a tube. Smoke is coming out of it. And it's a very thin tube, which is kind of the big deal here. So smoke is coming out of it, and it's hitting this sphere, which is really, really cool. So let's go ahead back to our presentation stream. And I'm going to close out that EmberGen. And then just let me take the time to load up the sparse EmberGen. So we'll load it. Let's say discard. And let me go ahead and load my first project. And then we'll transition over to the live thing. Just going to take a second for this demo to load because it has to load a bunch of VDBs. So let's see, stream with camera. Cool. So here we go. So this is EmberGen. And like I said, it's going to take a second to load all these VDBs. So we've got an aerial explosion, a fire jet, artillery, volcano, and something that says massive. And so still taking ages and ages. All right, there we go. The VDBs have loaded. And so basically, imagine that these things are simulations. So where we export one frame from 1.0, and it basically resumes the simulation here in sparse. So if I press Alt-T, you can see the sparsity of these simulations. And you can kind of get the implication of what this means. You can have multiple different explosions and things like that happening inside of EmberGen. You can see we resume those frames, and we're rendering it here with our HDRI. And unfortunately, this is lagging on stream. I don't know why it's lagging so bad. Normally, this is really smooth. I'm running at like 70 frames per second. That's unfortunate. But yeah, so regardless, really, really interesting stuff here. And I really hope LiquiGen doesn't lag as bad. And so regardless, we've also got another stream thing here of just a very quick simulation. And okay, this looks like it's loading really fast. Maybe a lot of my VRAM was taken up, and that was the problem. So this is just kind of an example of the sparse solver in general running. And we can see kind of the sparsity here and just how quick it is. So really, really interesting. And then I'll load maybe this one from Jason, one of our artists, just to kind of show some of the sparsity of the solver. So a lot of this is still programmer art. We can't control, smoke or whatever it happens to be for the coloring. The fire shading needs a lot of work, etc. But this just shows that the basics of our solver works. And I think that's pretty much it for that. So yeah, a lot of really interesting things are going to come from EmberGen. We kind of have a cool roadmap coming out, and 1.0 is mostly going to be UI improvements minus the new collision stuff that we have planned, and then from there we're just going to really focus in hard on 2.0. Like I said, it's going to be a full rewrite, and it is going to be pretty much unparalleled from pretty much anything. Billions and billions of voxels will be able to be simulated and rendered live in real time, and it's going to be pretty flippin' incredible. We think many speed improvements. So it's coming up. All right, this is it. So LiquiGen, let's go ahead and head on over. So what are our current goals with LiquiGen? So for now, no timeline on release. I know that's disappointing, but we're going to explain why. It's going to launch on Windows, Mac, and Linux from day one. Our current targets: speed. It is fast. We are doing our best to ensure that every byte of VRAM is used as efficiently as possible without compromising quality. Versatility. We want to strive to simulate anything from raindrop splashes to waterfalls and everything in between. Exports. We want to do VAT exports, Alembic, flipbooks, etc. for like compositing, games, you name it. Real-time is our target for most smaller simulations, and large-scale simulations are still untested. And then finally, an easy workflow and incredible UI are our goals. So some questions. I can go ahead and take a little bit of questions now real quick before we go to the next slide. So let's see. Will it particle exporter mesh? Yes, it will. Launching on all three OSs is huge indeed. We hope to have like an ocean shelf tool. I don't have much details on that yet, but I would hope so. Somebody says, can you freeze or boil liquids? You might be able to like kind of do things kind of like freezing or boiling. Maybe that'd probably be post 1.0 whenever we implement some different solvers. But we're going to show you some really amazing stuff that's just happened within like the past month on the team. And you hope that someone from SideFX are here. I hope not. That means they're competing against us. Hey, SideFX guys, if you're here. We have some really cool technology that we want to sell you. So, yeah. So regardless, is the UI similar to EmberGen? Yes, it is. Can you make it super viscous? Viscosity will come after LiquiGen 1.0, more or less. Viscosity is a very complicated thing, but we'll kind of have some fake viscosity things that you'll be able to do in the meantime. Fluid and color, basically fluid blending, I hope so. I think we'll be able to do that, yeah. Character interaction like swimming, character footsteps, etc. Definitely. Have we considered USD export? Yes, USD will be a native thing across all apps in the future. I don't know exactly when, but it's going to happen. Will it be able to simulate droplets on a surface? I hope so, especially once we get like viscosity, because we want to have like cohesion on surfaces, so that's going to be pretty big. Can it look like beer? I have something to show you in a preset. So without further ado, let's go ahead and go to the next slide, and then we'll get into the live demo. And I can answer more questions in the future, but surface tension is going to come, white water is going to come, going to be really cool. So R&D updates. So this is kind of some of the things that we're going to show. We're not going to show foam. We did have it at one time. There's a video on our YouTube here that's pretty interesting that shows some whitewater R&D. But what we're going to be showing today is a photorealistic path tracer that's currently in active research and development. We're going to show real-time meshing of your particles in your simulation, and it does it in under 1 millisecond per frame. Holy fuck. It also supports up to 10 million active triangles for now. That's just kind of a sorting algorithm limitation. And so lots more R&D to do there. And we also have as far as I know, a world's first for public liquid simulations, sparse solving for liquids. So empty space will not slow your simulation down. It is virtually boundless for the domain. So there is no simulation domain for LiquiGen. You can create boxes if you want a domain to kind of keep your sim in a certain speed or whatever, but there is no domain. And as far as I know, it will be the world's first publicly available sparse solver for liquids. So just like our smoke simulator, where we only calculate what you need for the smoke, we'll do the same for liquids, and it's completely insane. Absolute insanity. So before we do the final piece, what's holding us back? Man, I'm stuttering because I'm so excited. I'm jumping at the bit. I was like, man, this is it. Well, we will have one more slide. So what's holding us back from release? Proper emitters and drains. Well, you can't really do anything without that. Export capability. Right now, we can't export anything from EmberGen. And then we want more control over the simulation parameters, so surface tension, particle counts, better control over your meshing. We want to do whitewater and foam generation. We still have some key simulation tuning features that we'll need to have. proper imported mesh support is something we still need, and then proper UI integration. So these are all the reasons why we're not releasing. We want to make sure that we release an incredible tool to you, and you can kind of see a really neat LiquiGen render right there in the background. Finally, by chopping at the bit, there's a LiquiGen survey in the description. Fill that out. Send us demo reels that are really cool. Send us references that you'd like to replicate, especially if it was done in another solver. Please, please, please fill out the survey. Let us know what you want. Let us know all the crazy use cases you want us to support, etc. And if you want to support LiquiGen development, let me show my face for this. If you want to support LiquiGen development, buy the suite or contact support and upgrade to the suite, because if you have it, that's kind of the way to pre-order GeoGen and LiquiGen and whatever right this second is by buying the suite. And we currently have 3 people working on LiquiGen. If we have more money, we can hire more people specifically for LiquiGen. And so that's one of our primary tools. Somebody said, how much is the suite? I believe it's $400. And if you have EmberGen, it's like $100 to upgrade. So really cool. So yeah, without further ado, let's show LiquiGen live. And so here we go, the LiquiGen live demo. So let me go ahead and pull it up, and then once it loads, I will share my screen, and let's pray to the stream gods that we have enough bandwidth to show this without it lagging, because it really is awesome. Woo, 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 woo. All right, so first things, I'm just going to kind of go down the list here, and let me switch over. All right, this is your first real look at LiquiGen, and we're currently at 420 viewers. So yeah, so LiquiGen, and so hopefully that's rendering pretty well on stream. So this is our real-time path tracer. This is kind of, imagine a bullet going through a thing, and we can just kind of step through this sim and see here. And we're going to full screen this joker, and holy shit, look at that. That is just amazing, especially all the distortion inside of the liquid, it pushing all the liquid, all the concave liquid going. Oh my gosh. Wow. And this is not pre-simulated or anything. This is just straight LiquiGen. Like, literally my hands are shaking because I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, whenever I saw this, I couldn't believe it. So let's open up a couple more presets. So this one's called Collision Puzzle. You can kind of see some bugs there. So one thing that we can do is, let me just show you how fast the actual solver is. So here's the solver running, and it's just doing its little sparse thing. We can press Alt-T. You can see the sparsity of the liquid, and it's doing all of its cool stuff. And we can go over here to our path tracer, and then load this. Let's let it kind of compute. This scene's a lot more difficult because there's so many more triangles and whatnot. And but man, does that look good. And so we can press R, restart it. You can kind of see it running there. Really, really awesome stuff. We don't have a denoiser yet. So this is pretty crazy. And whenever we're at this angle, it resolves so fast. And then we can also do something called split on first bounce, which removes a lot of the noise kind of right off the bat. And you can kind of see some things that we need to improve. So we've got like some particle stepping or whatever it happens to be from the collider. And so pretty crazy. Somebody says, what are you streaming from the same PC you're running this on? Yes, stream is dying. Let's see here. Let me log in. Yeah, I'm sure that this scene is crazy. All right, let me restart. Okay, quick turn down the process priority. All right, hang on. All right, so how are we doing? Is it good? Turn off the path tracer. All right, let's see. Are we good? Yes, probably the path tracing. Cool. I won't do the whatever whatever it was. Did the other path tracing view go well? And so, quick question: did the other path tracing thing go well? Cool. All right. I need a second graphics card for the sim. I wish that I could do that. I wonder if there's a way that I can have two computers and stream my voice and whatever, and then stream the actual screen, whatever. I don't know. So, okay. So let's see if this lags, and let me know, and I won't turn on the other thing. So, let's reset this. Okay, and make sure. So, does this lag the stream? If this doesn't lag the stream, then that's a big positive. All right. So I'm watching the stream, and cool. So either way, I'll try not to render such a big thing. Okay, cool. No lag. So it looks like it was the split on first bounce thing that was going crazy. So either way, let me know again if it lags from all this stuff. This is pretty intensive, but it looks amazing. So here you can see another complex collision puzzle, really quite awesome. And just look at the photorealism of this. It's really cool. Somebody said, what card is this? This is a RTX 4090. So yeah, really cool. And hopefully the stream doesn't lag. Whew. All right, so opening another project. I've got something here just called Fake River. And we can turn off the path tracer for a second so that we can see just kind of the raw sim. So we've got this little obstruction, and it's kind of running and doing its thing. Right now we're at like 3.6 million particles. You can kind of see the real-time meshing. So for instance, if I go and view the triangles, it looks kind of like nanite. It's not nanite, it's just randomized triangle coloring. But you can see the actual mesh of the full simulation here. And we're just running down like a little gutter or whatever it happens to be. So really awesome stuff. And I'm sure that all these triangle colors are going to kill the stream. But yeah, so real-time meshing. It's completely real-time. Like I said, meshing for the actual mesh is, I believe, under a millisecond per frame. Somebody says, any viscosity example? No, because we don't have it implemented right this second. Let's see. Let's do fish splash. So let's go here. Make sure that I have my stuff on. And we're just going to grab this. And just to show you kind of the interactivity of LiquiGen. So really cool to just kind of come in and... it's kind of like the bullet preset where you can just come in and play around with it. Really awesome path tracing stuff here. So quite awesome. So really impressed with how this is turning out. And of course, we can do any shape that we want. So we can have this be, a sphere or a torus or whatever, and then just kind of grab this little ball. And unfortunately, colliders. They don't react completely realistically depending on the shape, but pretty awesome. So just to prove that this is, in fact, real time, that's me interacting with this. So going through and doing a miniature wave box simulation. So in this case, we've kind of got some gravity that's animated, and so we can just see this here. And the box is going to kind of, and there's the other skybox loading. So you can see here, imagine this is kind of an ocean. We kind of got a box doing its thing. And I don't know if you can see, but this is running at 90 frames per second with the path tracer on my computer. Hopefully it comes through on the stream. But yeah, so this is about 90 frames per second. It's around 2 million particles, and it looks like about 2.5 million voxels, and we have like 130 million voxels that we can go with. But really, really cool. And if I pause this, and somebody says, can you off the HDR background so we can see it properly? If I turn off the HDR, it won't render the path tracing. But yeah, we can go ahead and say view the non-path tracing view. And actually, I have like some basic reflections on this one with our basic renderer. And you can just kind of see how this works. And just to kind of show you how the sparse domain works, if I turn off my collider, there you go. It kind of drops and just does its thing. Really, really quite interesting. And all the weird coloring is because I'm doing the whole reflect and refract. So really, really cool. So there's just a base splash with no bounds. So really, really quite crazy. So, if the path tracer isn't, or whatever is too slow on your computer, you can come here, render with no path tracing, just do some basic real-time meshing. And you can also view particles. So you can see here points. Let's turn off the liquid mesh. And so here's just our points. Let's turn back the collider. And then here's all of our points. So really cool to show that this is just, some straight stuff. And so unfortunately it says that my stream connection is poor. That's sad. I don't know why it would be poor. But yeah, looks like on the stream it's going pretty fast. Sorry, I'm just checking back and forth to make sure that you guys are having the best stream experience. So I also have something called a paddle whirlpool. It's just to kind of show some of the physical interaction that you can have with this. Let's go ahead and turn this to just our basic solver. And so we can see that this is kind of paddling through in this cylinder. And we've got this thing running around, and now this is going to kind of generate a whirlpool based on this physical interaction and collision. So really, really awesome. Quite cool. You can kind of see some of the waves and the whirlpool and whatever starting to form. And for instance, if we just kind of pause this, show our path tracer again to show just how realistic this is. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's just it's fucking insane. I can't. Excuse my profanity, but I can't believe it. This is just awesome. So we said, can we use multiple CPUs? This is not CPU based. This is purely GPU, and this is running on a 4090. So we said, can you export these points? You will be able to. You'll be able to export a mesh. You'll be able to export Alembic meshes. You'll be able to export your points or whatever. Just really, really, really cool. And the crazy thing, which let me just go full screen for a second. The crazy thing about all this is it's completely like basic. This is just the surface of what LiquiGen is going to become. This is the non-performance version of EmberGen, of LiquiGen. This is just the beginning. There's so many things that we still can implement. And imagine whenever we have a cliff imported with waterfalls dripping over, all the rocks with white water and just all this other crazy stuff. This is going to be insane. This is completely industry changing, I think. So I've never seen anything like this before. Our team is crushing it on LiquiGen. So this is just, it's crazy. It's crazy. But let's hop back in and show a couple more presets and then we'll hop into GeoGen. But what do you guys think? Like, is this as industry changing as I think it is? So what are your thoughts? So let's go ahead and hop back over to the live LiquiGen. Because we are kind of coming up on time here. So I've also got one called Red Wine, which is quite neat. I'm sure the thing is going to take a little bit to load because this isn't the right HDRI. But here we've got just some pouring red wine. I think this is one of the other first demos we've shown with kind of an emitter. And if I could just kind of pause this and show the path, not the non-path trace version, really cool simulation. I mean, it's just ridiculously fast. You'll be able to crank up the resolution on this and whatever. Somebody said, can you show this with fake viscosity? I believe if I turn this all the way down, that might be the viscosity-based version. I can't really recall. Maybe this is more viscosity whenever we have more divergence control, but we don't really have the fake viscosity fully implemented yet either. So really, really quite neat. And then, of course, with the path tracer, for some reason, there we go. Now it'll render. And so quite cool to kind of see the surface and whatever rendering. Really, really cool stuff. I also have one called Splash Scene. So this is one of the actual things that I showcased. And this shows off kind of the sheeting capabilities of EmberGen. Thank you for the the donation. I appreciate that. That money is going to go towards EmberGen, or sorry, LiquiGen development. So really, really cool here. I wish, does anybody know of a way to limit the bandwidth or set the priority of my streaming thing? Let me just go into my settings real quick because I want to make sure that that this is doing its best. Let's see. Let's do maybe I changed the stream on the thing, so hopefully it continues to work. Okay, is the stream paused or what's going on? Okay, I changed the encoding preset just now to make it faster, so hopefully I don't lag as much or whatever. So I changed that live. So hopefully it doesn't break. Sorry for all the pausing and whatever, but I want to make sure that all this comes through. So really, really cool. And let's see. You can see the sheeting here. So this was kind of my point. Some of the sheeting capabilities of this new solver. You can see some issues against the collider, but all that stuff is going to be improved. If we go to our basic shader, you can kind of see the meshing and sheeting of all this. So really, really awesome. You can see it tearing based on some mesh values. And for instance, like if we go over here and say if I choose, where is it? Is it in the shading node or sim node? For whatever reason, I can't see. Oh, it's in liquid mesh now. It got moved. So we can kind of choose like our mesh values. So we can choose like how many voxels we want. And this is changing the mesh in real time here. We can also choose like different smoothing values, etc. So pretty interesting to kind of see that you can, choose what you want to mesh or whatever. I had somebody, email me and say, hey, we want to be able to do, like separate the splashes based on velocity or whatever. Hopefully we can add things like that. But if you want to fill out our survey, like I said, let us know the kind of features you want for meshing and how you want to color this stuff, how you would like whitewater to work, etc. This is really, really quite crazy. So I'm really impressed with how this is looking for the sheets and things like that. So very, very impressive. The second kind of sheet example that I have is also really quite awesome. So we have this this nice, what would you call it, cylinder, and then kind of the water coming up over it. And I think that, yeah, the HDRI is going to change to make it better. And so if we just kind of go here and pause this, it looks like the stream is running a lot better too now that I changed the encoding. You can just kind of see the surface of the water kind of coming over this cylinder. And I mean, it just looks awesome, frankly. Looks awesome. I can't wait. And then look at the splash details over here. Just incredible. It's incredible. I have no other words. I'm out of words for this stream. It's incredible. I mean, it's fucking, man. That's what it is. It's awesome. So we've got another splash scene. This is more of a, uh-oh, what's happening? I think I think my emitter's too big. Let's go here. Let's make it a lot smaller. Uh-oh. What's happening? Cylinder. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know what is happening. I don't know why it's not loading the right emitter. But regardless, we've got a pretty big simulation happening here. And you can kind of see all of this beer splashing around. And it looks pretty incredible. In this case, this is, it looks like 16 million particles. So this is a fairly large simulation. You can see it started lagging because of the resolution. And I don't want to kill my computer here. But yeah, so don't want to kill my computer. I'm going to load a different preset here. So let's go ahead and do a different one. So in this case, we kind of have, let's see, we kind of have a different thing where we've got these different shapes kind of coming in and splashing through this. If we look at it without the path tracer, we can just kind of see these different shapes hit it and kind of punch through. Really, really cool. And, you know, we can change the solver to say maybe add, you know, some more APIC ratio, maybe more divergence. That's going to give us far more splash detail and things like that. And then we've got our path tracer, which is just going to kill everything. So I'm going to keep it turned off. All right, let's see. Oh, shit. All right, let's restart that. That's going to kill the stream. All right, so the next one that I have is kind of another splash through. In this case, just kind of a small splash. We've got a Taurus doing this one. He said, can it do crown splashes? This is kind of like a crown splash. I don't have a setup for a crown splash right this second, but I definitely think that it's definitely possible. So yes, we could definitely do a crown splash. I don't think that that'll be a problem. We'll probably show that in a different video with some pre-renders or something like that. Coming up on some of the last presets here. This one is lagging like crazy. Okay, it's because this HDRI is so huge. So this one right here, I just call it ice. This is kind of a zero gravity example. And you can kind of see, it's kind of like the bullet impact. We can see all the different refraction and whatever happening here from this impact, from this, you know, bar or whatever kind of hitting through it. And if we want, we can change the shading. So, you know, you have full control over, you know, how this liquid is shading. You can change kind of the transmission strength, and we can just kind of hit this. You can see all the distortions. The thing that's crazy to me with this is look at the ripples that happen as this thing bulges. It's flipping awesome. It's so crazy, and it's insane. And so it creates a full cavity there inside the liquid. Now, one thing that I don't know is if after a cavity is created, if you have gravity, if that's going to kind of compress back and, you know, create an explosion of, you know, water coming back out, the stuff that we still need to test. But still, you know, in the meantime, I mean, this is just really, really awesome. And then the final preset that I have is kind of this this ink. And then maybe we'll kind of go back and work on my little sculpture preset that I had set up. So this is similar. You can see kind of the shock waves traveling through this ballistic gel looking thing. And you can see this really thick, inky liquid getting kind of dispersed or whatever it happens to be. Really, really quite awesome to see all that. And it's so cool. So cool. And, you know, if we want, we can take the position and, you know, just kind of move it through the liquid or whatever to show that, you know, this is all, it's not pre-simulated or whatever. It is rendering in real time. And if we see the faster view, I mean, it's just stupidly fast for the simulator. So gonna be really, really cool to have all this. So awesome. So I just want to go back real quick to the collision puzzle. And I just want to kind of show you how this stuff works which is really cool. So for instance, I can move, this collider. That's going to completely change the simulation. I can push it around. I can move, say this ending piece, change the flow. So imagine that these are just like a bunch of rocks or whatever, and you want to simulate some waterfalls or whatever it happens to be. I mean, this is just going to be incredibly powerful and whatnot. And so once we get, some better solvers in place, improve our meshing, implement new sorters, improve our meshing algorithms, and things like that, we're going to get rid of, kind of all these artifacts for these triangles and things like that. So this is going to be quite awesome. Somebody said, where is beer? I believe this one is shaded kind of like beer. So just imagine that this is beer pouring out in a waterfall. So really quite cool. I'm really impressed with all of this. So that's basically it. I don't have anything else for LiquiGen. And so let's go ahead and close that out. So that's pretty much it for LiquiGen. Let me go full screen here. So that's it. That's LiquiGen. Hopefully we can have some cool videos or renders of all these things simulated in real time with better captures and whatnot. And so let's answer some questions real quick about LiquiGen, and then we're going to go into GeoGen and show off some really cool stuff there as well. The beta will be available whenever. If you have a license for the suite, you'll get it first, is all I'll say. No foam for now, but it's coming. If you look on our channel, we have some foam R&D. It's just not implemented yet. Go back on the stream if you want to see the whole release date slides or whatever. This right here is telling you why it's not out yet, and then kind of our updates and whatever. So on the stream, it says all that stuff about releasing and everything. We want to do stuff like wet maps. We want to do things like buoyancy and stickiness. When's the alpha? I have no clue. Will it be able to simulate two liquids together like water and oil? I would hope so, because each particle can hold its own data. So that would be really, really cool. And I said, look at this, and I showed something on the slide, but I didn't transition back. So yeah, we'll be really cool. Bubbles are going to be a completely different thing. That's going to be pretty hard. You'll be able to import nodes and all kind of stuff, import geometry, all that. That's going to be pretty interesting. Somebody says, will your denoise be completely custom, or will it be already made? It's probably going to be custom. We don't use any libraries from anybody. We want full control over our simulations. We have the capabilities to build the rendering and everything ourselves. And we're going to keep doing that for the most part. So really, really cool stuff. Hopefully we can do things like slime and whatever in the future whenever we do viscosity. Yeah, we're going to have VAT support for games for sure. Going to have like concave, or what do you call it, like concavity maps for things like that, so that you can do custom erosion. We want to do kind of like the Naughty Dog Last of Us style blood erosion for flip books. Gonna be really, really cool. And so yeah. And so he said, literally asked the JangaFX head guy. They said they don't know yet. I am the head guy. So yeah, we have no clue when LiquiGen's coming out. But if you can see kind of and this is the thing. If you look at the stream, the slides, these are the things that's holding us back. So if you want to speculate on when we can finish all these different things, that's the release date. So if you want to speculate, this is what's holding us back. We're trying to be as transparent as possible. And, that's the big thing is, I want to be as transparent as possible with our company and what we're doing and where your money's going. And for a lot of people who have bought the suite, you really honestly only have one product in there right now, and that's EmberGen. And so it's just, you've given us your money. You're waiting on essentially vaporware products. Well, we're proving that it's not vaporware anymore. And, they're going to be released. And unfortunately, it's just taking a little while, but we only have 3 people working. So tell all your friends to go buy the suite or EmberGen or whatever, and we can dedicate more money, because right now we're spending like millions of dollars on all this stuff, and we just need more. But I don't want to take on investments, because that, people want to like start controlling shit, and then there's like a board and all this stuff. I don't want to deal with any of that crap. And so we're raising money the old-fashioned way by selling good software. So really, really cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the next thing that I'm really excited about, GeoGen. So let's go ahead and pop over to the presenting stream here. So what are our current goals with GeoGen? So right at the second, once again, no release date. We're going to kind of go over some of the things that are holding us back. Real-time generation of terrain and planets. We know that there's a ton of terrain generators and things like that out there. But we want to make sure that we're different, and we're going to kind of show you how. We want to be artist friendly and substance like. So if you're familiar with Substance Designer, fantastic tool. I love the guys over at Substance for that team. And it's going to be a node editor. It's going to have physical simulation for flows of waters, snow, sediment, etc. It's kind of what we want to focus in on for our goals. We want path trace rendering, just like LiquiGen, with fog, water, and emissive sources like lava, etc. So if you want to, export, say, things for matte painting or concept art, or you want to, have cool renders or whatever, and then have that in your film or your game or whatever, that's going to be possible. It's going to have a compositing workflow just like EmberGen, which I don't know if any terrain editor out there has. We want to do advanced procedural generation of terrains using different approaches than a lot of the other companies out there. And then we want to have game-oriented tool sets. So, we hired a guy who used to work at a very large game company. He was a really good environment artist over there. And so we kind of hired him, brought him on, and he is making sure, and I'm talking, like quadruple A style studio, and he's going to make sure that this is a game-ready terrain editor. So we want to work with Unreal 5 and things like that. Make sure that this stuff is great. And then finally, like I said, composite-friendly workflows for things like concept art, matte painting, and more. And I think that after you see our renderer, you're going to see why we want to encourage that workflow instead of just exporting height maps or meshes and things like that. So what's holding us back from release? Large terrain generation and tiles, including planet generation. So you can see here in the background, that's dimmed. You can see a cool like beach scene or whatever, but we can't do any more tiles than that yet, and that's kind of what's holding us back. We want to do polygonal geometry import and export, including decimation. So if you want lower or higher resolution terrains, we want to be able to export those in full geometry form, so say like FBX or USD or whatever. And then proper terrain painting and editing tools, interactive gizmos, and UI design. We just want to make sure that those things are perfect for us to give the JangaFX seal of approval. And without further ado, let's go ahead and show GeoGen live. And so you can look at my pretty face while I load up the tool. And so let's see here. And what do you guys think about all the cool transitions that we have now? I say all of them. We only have one, but it's quite awesome. So let's see. Let me go ahead and load a terrain, and then I will swap the screen. So I'm gonna load this this beach first. I'm gonna load this bitch. So yeah, gonna load this beach preset, and then we'll go ahead. So here we go. So this is GeoGen. So once again, this is a path traced view of EmberGen. Actually, this is a Raymarch view. We can do path tracing. Let's see if it actually works and works well on stream. Looks like it is for the most part, but I might just stick with the screen based ray marching for now, because it looks like it's the fastest. So all those rays are really expensive. So Yeah, but you can do path tracing. I might show a couple more path trace examples in the future here in a bit. But for the most part, I mean, look at this terrain. This is all procedurally generated with a substance-like system. We've got, sunlight. You can kind of come in, change the sun, re-render the terrain, etc. Really, really cool. And, for instance, what we do is, you take, say, like a noise warp. We've got a noisy terrain. And you can kind of see how this is like Substance Designer in some ways. This is going to be mainly for, environment artists, game studio people, things like that. That's kind of the market that we're targeting. So if you're our typical effects customer, this may or may not be useful to you, but we want to kind of make sure that we hit, some of the other industry niches as well. And then we kind of have like this, nice shore type shape. We also added a shore node so that you can kind of blend into the water. You can see that we're blending in some multiple height maps and things like that. And then we can distribute rocks along that surface based on, a mask that we choose, and then, do some adjustments and kind of add everything together. And then we also have a second total terrain over here, which is like a cliff. And then we blend that, and then voila. And so the cool thing is if we came over here and say, I believe it's this adjustment, if we wanted to add in, some differing, steps in the terrain or whatever, we can do that with all these different curves, all kind of crazy stuff. And this terrain is from our mastermind, Gilles, on our team. He made a software called Grand Designer. He pitched this tool to us, and we said that we would, go forward and fund it and everything. So really, really awesome. There's currently 2 people on this team, and we want to expand this team as well. And so you can kind of see the terrain updated there, and it's really quite cool. But we've got a lot more really cool examples, and I'll show some high resolution stuff here in a bit. Kind of showing some of the planet side type deals. This right here is kind of a moon surface. So you've got some, I can't believe, so we actually talked to a guy at NASA, and he was telling us kind of some of the terminology of the moon surface and things like that. And we're kind of using, actual moon reference photos, at least to, in this case, this isn't a part of a moon, but to kind of actually get some of the actual things that creators do. We want to have something called tertiary impacts, where you have like a bunch of ejection media coming for the colorization and things like that. That's going to come. This right here is kind of like a collapsed lava well, things like that. And so we have this thing called faulting, so you can fault the terrain. We've got, ridges and bulging for different things like this, for all the cracks and whatnot. And it's really, really quite cool. You can do thermal erosion. And we're probably using our crater tool as well for this. And we've got all kind of different things like age range, so you can determine the age of the crater and all kind of stuff. Looks like we've got a trails intensity thing, which is what I talked about with all the actual impacts. But I don't know how to make that appear. Maybe it's broken or something right this second. But either way, really, really cool. And let's see what this one is. Some of them are going to take a second. Okay, so this one is awesome, awesome, awesome. And so one of the cool things is we have 2 different resolution types, so to speak. So we've got the terrain resolution, which is basically, our 2D height map. And for some reason, okay, so here's like an example of our 2D height map. You can kind of see this terrain cutting through, some values going, over one. That's probably the steep part. And this is where you'll be able to, take your tablet or whatever, paint some height maps if you want to. We've got our 3D view here that we can kind of preview, some stuff of, which is really nice. Then we end up coloring it and everything else. But we can go here, go to our terrain resolution, and let's say maybe choose 0.25 meters per pixel. It's going to recompute all this terrain in a much higher resolution. And now if we kind of go through and bring this sunset down, let's see, can I get a good sunset? All right, there we go. Really, really cool. And you can see that this is quite a bit more detail on this height map. So really cool stuff. I'm quite impressed. And let's choose this volcano, and then we'll show the power of our path tracer. So you can see the lava flow. We can compute the flow of things like liquids and stuff like that down the side of the mountain or whatever it happens to be. And what we can do is go here to View, Rendering, Screen Path Tracing, and we'll probably keep it small unless the stream can handle it. I'll just maximize it for a second and let it kind of do its path tracing. But you can see a bunch of fog and whatever once we turn on the path tracer. And it's truly quite incredible what this can do. And we're only going to improve the rendering capabilities of all this and stuff. And it's going to be really cool. So quite awesome to be able to do this, texture all these things. And the cool thing about EmberGen, there's so many gens, GeoGen, is the ability to come in and mask whatever you want. So we can, mask, the shape of this thing. We can mask all the cavities. We can mask the height. We can take, the liquid flow to start making that, some of our emissive lava. We can make it green if we want to. So let's see here, and let's make sure that we kind of come in here, make all this stuff green, to make some green flow. And maybe at the edges we have some blue. Then let's go back to our renderer, and now you have this crazy, green lava alien shit. So really quite cool. And it looks like my stream slows down whenever I stop the movement. And so yeah, so really quite awesome to kind of see how all this stuff works. Really impressive. So really cool. So this one is rocks and snow, just kind of showing, some of the variation in coloration of the terrain that you can get, kind of showing, how you can deposit snow. So I believe, so we have like a fluvial erosion thing. So let's see, here's the height map. We can deposit snow and sediment and things like that. You can add rocks. So the cool thing is say if we look at these rocks, we can choose complex rocks. We can choose flat rocks. So you can choose all the different things that you want. You can choose like the warp amplitude for the rocks. So say if we wanted to, where's these rocks at? Here they are. So say if we wanted to warp the distribution, we can come here, add a domain warp. Here is our actual warp here. We can go to our rocks, and now you can see that we can kind of warp the placement of these rocks, change, how these things are doing. We can change the grid size to choose how big or small these rocks are. We can go back in, choose whether they're simple rocks. Like I said, choose whether they're complex rocks. We can change, the rotation amounts of these rocks. We can add, all kinds of variation to the individual rocks through these curves to kind of, change their shape. If you want to, make them concave, make them, pits or whatever it happens to be. Really cool stuff. And then, go back through, and now let's look at our terrain. There we go. And it looks like I broke something. I probably accidentally disconnected a height map or something like that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just have to reload the thing. But, let's see. I believe it wasn't this one, but this one's cool too. We've got like a height map generated pyramid and some other stuff. So these were some cool presets that I thought were interesting, from the main person who's developing the software, Gilles, on our team. And you can also see kind of a little bit of thing where we're going to support things like biomes. Let me go to View, Rendering, and Ray Marching just to kind of make the renderer faster. And what we can do is, let me also show maybe a higher resolution where we go to say maybe like 0.5 meters per pixel. And this is really going to increase, the overall detail of our terrain. So we can see we have like a cool river being carved through this. We've got, the water shading. And then the cool thing about the biomes is notice that we've kind of got something similar like trees planted, near the edge of this river. So you will be able to choose where trees are going to go, where roads are going to go, how you want your biomes, to be populated. And you'll be able to export those biome maps to Unreal, to Unity, to, Houdini, or whatever you want, to really make sure that you can populate it based on the actual mask and terrain data from GeoGen. So as you can see, like, this is kind of how we're differentiating ourselves. We want this to be an easy to use tool. We want you to be able to come in and craft any kind of terrain you want. And, you know, looking at all this, the node graph, it might look, you know, fairly complicated or whatever, but you can break it down by say, hey, you know, we've got noises, we're masking these shapes, we're doing, you know, a couple of different blends and whatever, and we're adjusting these masks through curves, and then boom, you know, you do a slice extract, and then that's going to slice it up, and you can come in here, change your curve, you know, for all the different height maps and whatever, and change kind of, you know, how these scales are going to work, and then you can come in and change the terrain kind of right before your eyes. And it's not black boxed, you know, with other terrain editors out there. Things are kind of, black boxed, and, you know, you don't really know what it's doing or whatever, but we're exposing all the controls to you. So we're running, you know, a new fluvial erosion and whatever, and we'll go ahead and just select the end render, and boom, there's our updated render. It reran all the erosion for us, and really quite cool. And you could come in and place a crater anywhere you want. You could do whatever you want. So this is quite awesome. So let's go ahead and move over to presets from Shirk, one of our other artists. And drag and drop presets actually works on this. So these are just some more examples of some really neat terrain shapes and things like that. You know, some cool rivers. In this case, we've kind of got snow in the cracks versus a full blanket of snow. We've got some really cool ripples and ridges that we've kind of done with this node graph. And we can just kind of go through and preview some of these presets. You can also import like height maps and things like that. And so some of these are commented, so you can see like base shapes for the river or whatever it happens to be. And it's just really cool to see, you know, all this erosion and you know, the mimicry of Earth, so to speak. So really quite awesome. I like this preset quite a bit because it uses, you know, some pretty cool rock generation and things like that. You can, you know, increase the number of layers and things like that of rocks. And if we, you know, go here, I think that this right here would probably be a cool one to show maybe some higher detail. So let's see, 1024. So I think we can go all the way down to like 125 for our resolution. And let's see what this looks like. It's computing. It's taking a little while. This is a much higher resolution terrain, and it's running all the sims. Let's see. Is it going to load or crash? All right. Looks like we're almost done. Okay. It might just crash. I don't know. I might have went too low of a resolution. Okay. I'm going to just go ahead and cancel it. All right. Let's try again. We won't go that low resolution. I forget what kind of the limit is. And let's see here. All right. It really crapped out my my stream. All right. So let's not worry about the recovery file. Let's get it back. And let's do Cliff again. But we'll go to settings, go to meters per pixel, and let's choose like 025. And hopefully this will work much better. Okay, there we go. So you can kind of see once we increase the resolution of the terrain, we get much sharper edges. You can kind of see that we've got kind of some micro detail in some of the erosion for the terrain. So if you want to use that as a base or whatever it happens to be, it's really quite awesome. And let's see, we've also got this desert preset, which I thought was pretty cool. And this one's taking a little bit of time to load. Some of them from Shirk take a little bit of time. I think I have to import a height map here. So let's go ahead and just do, which I tried to save these, but for some reason it did not Did not save. So in this case, we're importing the GeoGen logo and then kind of coloring it and everything based on that logo. So you can kind of see this is our height map import and export. So really cool to be able to do that. So you can paint custom height maps or generate them in other tools and then come in and edit them with a lot more capability here inside of GeoGen. And so we can also do things like, you know, a ton of little islands. So we've got this. This is actually one of my favorite presets because it's just cool. You've got a lot of variation kind of in the watercolor, in the oceans and things like that. Some really sharp mountains. You can kind of see we've got, you know, vegetation, so to speak, scattered on the mountain, kind of like a biome. And it looks really awesome. And then we come here, maybe let's go to settings, view, rendering, screen path tracing. And let's just kind of view path tracing with like a sunset or something like that. And I think it looks really cool with some of the sun and the fog and everything. And we can also do something called Shift Q, and that's first person mode. And you're able to kind of come in here and see the true size of a lot of this terrain. And it looks low resolution here, but this is why you would populate it with, you know, actual 3D geometry and models and all kind of stuff. So really quite cool. And I'm going to go back to just ray marching so that it doesn't kill the stream too much. So some of the final stuff, let me just find where one of my favorite ones is. So this is another cool one. It actually looks kind of like the island from Jurassic Park a little bit. And so it's just kind of flipping through some of these. We've got a cool like cliff-like island with some grass-like fields and stuff like that. Pretty neat. We've got a mountain range, which is quite interesting. Uses our slice feature, which gives you these really sharp mountain ranges. Then you can come in and erode it, you know, distort the slices or whatever you want. And we've also got a really cool detailed pyramid. So if you're familiar with you know, some of the Substance Designer art and things like that, you can do some pretty cool things. And as kind of a throw towards not a throw towards Substance Designer, but just to show that you can do Substance Designer type things. Here's a like a subway matte texture. So we Shirk took a picture of a subway as a reference and came in and remade this tile texture inside of GeoGen. So, and if people have been on calls with me, if you're at a big studio and you've been on a call with me, and I've kind of teased the idea of a tool for visual effects that is similar to Substance Designer, but helps you generate all kind of weird noise and patterns and things like that, you can kind of see what the power of GeoGen's node system is and how we'll be able to do some pretty cool stuff like that. So let's see, not that terrain, this one. So this is probably one of my favorite terrains, period. I know for a fact that I can make this one a smaller resolution. And so really high res. I mean, look at this. This is kind of like a stylized world. You know, if you were making a pretty cool stylized game, I really think that this is kind of where, you know, our GeoGen will be able to come in for stylized concept art or whatever you want. You've got like little lakes, so we can come in here, you know, easily tweak a lot of this stuff. So for instance, if I wanted to come to my renderer and say, I want to go to my water and change my water level, you can flood this terrain. If you had a shore node, which I'm not as well versed with GeoGen as, you know, our dedicated artists are right this second. So yeah, I'm like, every single one is my favorite. But I mean, this one is just so awesome. It looks so stylized. It looks so real. I mean, at the same time, it's freaking awesome. And I really love it. And so you can come in, and if we had a shore node, the shore would actually update and things like that. You can come in, change all your colors. I mean, it's so awesome to be able to generate things like this on the fly. And I bet that this, you know, I took it, and actually, Vasvik says smaller resolution is not higher resolution. I don't know. I'm willing to debate the terminology. But yeah, so that is basically it for GeoGen. Let me check these last two presets. Got a pretty cool like Martian Valley looking thing, and then a volcano. I think this one also uses our slice node, and you can see this just, and actually this is actually probably our one of our erosion algorithms to give us just these really, really intense Mordor style carvings through this volcano. And I believe this one also has an emissive map. So if I go over here and plug in this emissive map, it's not as impressive as the emissive map from the other volcano, but this is pretty cool. So really, really awesome stuff. So yeah, these are kind of the three main products that we are working on. Let me go ahead and close up GeoGen, and then we can do kind of a Q&A here, and then we'll wrap up the stream, and that's pretty much it. So sorry if I missed your questions. I've seen the chat just blowing up. Thank you for some of the donations as well. Really, really nice of you to do that. I appreciate it. A lot of the people here with the wrenches on their names, they're actually the developers here. So Vasvik is one of our lead developers on the sparse stuff for EmberGen. He helped create a lot of the main technology behind EmberGen. We've got Gilles over here, which is the lead on GeoGen, but he also did a lot of the rendering inside of EmberGen at one point. But we've moved him over to GeoGen now. And then I don't know if Javier is here, but he is one of our lead people leading LiquiGen and the amazing technology. We've also got Jan. I believe I've seen him a couple times on here. Or Brajla is his screen name. He did all the rendering for LiquiGen. Then we have Jesse leading the charge behind a lot of the intricacies of the tooling and sorting algorithms and things like that for LiquiGen. So really, really cool to have the whole team here as well. And there's Jan, I see. So yeah, so go ahead and start asking some questions. Thank you for tuning into the stream. I really, really appreciate it. Your money is going to good use. I really, we've been reinvesting into the business and just trying to make sure that we make tools for artists. And, we have some pretty cool announcements that we're probably going to do, throughout the course of this year, whether it's release dates or whatever it happens to be. So pretty cool. So let me just scroll up a little bit and let's see. So let's go ahead. So how many polygons is that? I don't know. It's a height map, but I presume you could make it millions of polygons if you wanted to. For the terrain, can you change the noise in real time? Yes, you can. Really cool. Are the nodes animatable or keyframeable? We want to bring back the timeline from EmberGen because all of our tools share the same UI, and that's kind of a key thing for our speed on how we're going to develop tools so fast and have different teams. So despite there being an EmberGen 1.0 team and a 2.0 team, and then GeoGen and LiquiGen, we kind of have a core team which works with all the tools to make sure that the UI is functioning properly. And that's how we're going to launch on Mac, Linux, and Windows all at the same time, because we have some custom, let's just call it GPU voodoo magic that we do. And this is kind of the reason why we don't use libraries and things like that from other people. I mean, we rewrote an Alembic importer and exporter from scratch instead of using the one that is open and out there, open source. Same thing with VDBs. We completely rewrote it from scratch. Much, much faster VDB exports in EmberGen 1.0 versus, say, like 075 or whatever. So, yeah, kind of going on a tangent. So, yeah, we're going to have animatable keyframes. Incredible geometry creation tool. Thank you. And if you missed the stream, you can go back. This will be a recording. Chat go burr. Yes, it do. Is there a way to convert two polygons for game import? You will be able to do that. Yes, that's one of our key things we want to offer. Will GeoGen and LiquiGen be available for Octane subscribers on release? No, it will not. And after November, EmberGen won't be available either. If you want to fund our development and support it and whatever, we found that the best way that we're going to get that is to just go at this by ourselves. And so, the deal with Octane was only for a limited amount of time, and we just decided to go our own way after that. So, yeah, nothing more to say there. Love your office, nice and clean and empty. You should have seen the board. There was a bunch of confidential information on the board, but I had to erase all of it. Normally this board is just crazy. Maybe I'll do a stream one day on just something random called my brain dump. It's an amazing method to keep me organized and focused and on track with how crazy our company is, at least from my point of view. Your most GeoGen were static. Can you show it changing in real time? If you go back and look at the stream, I did show some things changing in real time, like changing some of the curves and whatever. And some things may not be completely real time, like the erosion and whatever. There's more algorithms we want to implement to make it do that faster or whatever. But at most, it's going to take like a second or two to kind of reload that node or whatever, because we're swapping some pretty large textures on the GPU, and there's kind of a bandwidth issue. The main problem of terrain creation software is stretching on vertical surfaces, basically. Will GeoGen bring a solution to that? We hope so. We want to investigate things like 3D height maps and other things to do concave surfaces and other voodoo magic that we have planned. So yeah, we hope that we can kind of target that. If you have a 2D height map, there's not a whole lot that you can do to solve that, but maybe we could have custom UVs for the stretched surfaces whenever you export a mesh, and then it won't be a problem anymore. What advantages does GeoGen have against World Creator? I don't exactly want to compare and contrast tools on stream, so to speak. But more or less, I believe they have a stack-based modifier. A lot of it's kind of black boxed. You might not know what some things do. Now, World Creator generates amazing terrain. I can't say otherwise. I mean, it looks phenomenal. The rendering is phenomenal. And it's an awesome tool. We just think that we can do a few things better. And we're trying to tailor things more towards the game end. Compositing, matte painting, all that stuff. And we just kind of have a completely different workflow. So if you like stack-based modifiers, World Creator is going to be the tool for you. If you want to do node-based substance type stuff, if you know Substance Designer, you're going to know GeoGen. Kind of just right off the bat, you'll understand all the core concepts that you need. And most environment artists these days at a studio, whether it's games or whatever, is going to know how to use GeoGen kind of right out of the box. So they'll be able to create things that are pretty amazing within like 30 minutes, I think, from opening the software. Do you have different kinds of algorithms or systems to do small-scale fluid sims like beer and big kinds like fluid sims like the sea, or are they the same? They're kind of the same. Right now, ours is probably more tailored towards like smaller-scale sims, as you kind of saw, because we can do really good high-resolution splashes and things like that. But we really want to have different tools and solvers for different use cases. So if you have an ocean, maybe we'll have an ocean tool, and maybe that might just be a tessellated mesh that we do some pretty cool, complex wave algorithms and things like that on, and then have some custom foam generation algorithms and stuff like that. Because if it's an ocean, you probably don't need to simulate everything under it, and we'll just have a really cool volumetric render for that. So that'd be pretty cool. But we'll see. Are you guys planning on making an Unreal Engine 5 plugin to utilize Nanite and stuff? For GeoGen, we would like it to be friendly with Nanite, so to speak, and we would like it to be friendly with the tile-based rendering system that they also have for level streaming. So we want to make sure that GeoGen is compatible with that kind of stuff. So I said, no worries, you shall get money. Thank you. I like it. Just lost my my place here since the chat updated. Let's see, scrolling down. Sorry, the chat just moved. Don't be like any other kind of software company and sell to Autodesk. They will kill it and other software. Sorry, having a hard time reading that comment. Basically saying if we sold to Autodesk or whatever, our software would die. That's why we're not selling right now. We've been offered money from miscellaneous companies and a lot of money, and we've turned it down. I have too much to do and too many ideas before I want to sell out. Not saying I'll never sell out, but if the money's right, if they say like, hey Nick, we're going to give you $1 billion or whatever, and you still have full control over everything, I'd probably take it. But until then, I don't really plan on selling. JangaFX is way too fun. Like, what else are they going to offer me? Sitting on the beach and sipping a coconut does not sound fun to me. Why the fuck would I want to do that? Like, I don't care. I care about simulating the beach, simulating the palm trees, simulating the terrain and the waves and everything else, rather than sitting there and sipping on a coconut. I don't know. I don't need that much money. So, yeah, it's kind of my rebel side of me is like, raw. I don't want to sell, but like I said, if the money's right, I probably would. Just depends. But yeah, always want to stick with Jenga. Let's see. So this looks amazing. LiquiGen is crazy. Thank you for that. It definitely does look amazing. Alexander says, does LiquiGen have surface tension? Not yet, but it will. 500 million to 1 billion voxels in LiquiGen win. I don't know, but I hope we could get there. Let's see. Do the materials in GeoGen and LiquiGen have to be realistic, or can we create stylized looks? We want to support stylized looks. If you saw the last terrain in GeoGen, it was kind of stylized. But yeah, we'll be able to do stylized stuff too. Free t-shirts with a purchase or a store link to buy them. On my board, I had set up merch store. I'm going to set up a merch store and we'll do a promo video. We'll have LiquiGen shirts, GeoGen, EmberGen. We'll probably have like, a 1 billion voxel shirt or something. I'm sure there's some puns and stuff we come up with that could be funny too, for t-shirts. And if you want a mug too, let me know. Maybe we could make that happen. We have some pretty cool JangaFX mugs at the team here. I would love to see an integration with Touch Designer, where Touch Designer can control inputs to GeoGen, EmberGen, etc. Could be possible with our API that we're going to build. You could make the integration if you want to. Will there be curve support for roads and such? Yes. Will we be able to make caves and tunnels with the GeoGen? Probably not in 1.0, but eventually. That is the goal. Will GeoGen support terrain formations like terrace? Yes, we already have that node. Will the FX suite purchase include LiquiGen? Assuming you're talking about the suite on our website, yes. If you buy the suite, at least for now, as far as we know, and as far as I can plan into the future, even if you don't have maintenance, like 3 years from now, you will still get LiquiGen 1.0, or GeoGen 1.0, DestructGen 1.0, Redacted Tool 1.0, Redacted Tool 1.0. I can't say the names for some of the ideas that we have and that we're going to implement as we continue expanding our team, our company. This isn't the last environment art tool that we have planned. We have some pretty big industry-changing tools in mind, so just keep an eye out. But we got to get GeoGen and LiquiGen and stuff like that out first before we can think about managing more products, because it's already a madhouse in some ways. Just want to say thank you for the streams and workshops. That is so awesome and a huge positive difference compared to corporations. Thank you. We're actually going to reincorporate and become JangaFX Inc. soon, probably within the next month or two. It's going to be big for us to have that thing. Maybe we'll have a cool logo that has the dot after ink pop in. I got some ideas. So let's see. So many comments. Let's see. The chat keeps moving back down. I'm still pretty far up. And thank you for the 244 people still watching. So let's see. Terrain is tileable, like the export tile in super resolution. We hope that the terrain will be tileable, is all I'll say. So, do you have plans to support Vector Regen? I don't know, man. That tool is dead, honestly. We're not supporting Vector Regen anymore. I have plans of us maybe turning it into a really cool particle tool, but I don't have any plans for it right this second. Can you elaborate on the plans for planetary stuff in GeoGen? Could we do full-scale planets? I don't know about full-scale planets, but at the very least, I think that we will be able to generate some really cool things like asteroids. You will be able to generate hopefully things like gas planets, like Jupiter and Saturn and whatever. Hopefully Jupiter is a gas planet and Saturn's a gas planet. So be able to generate things like that. We want to have a fairly high resolution thing. I don't have much other details. Look up Grand Designer, which is kind of the predecessor to GeoGen. That'll kind of give you an idea of at least some preliminary things we want planned. But we hope for you to be able to generate planetary assets for your game, or things in the distance, or trailers, or whatever, cool renders, that kind of stuff. Any idea when LiquiGen will be available for beta? Watch the stream and you'll see why we haven't released yet, and then come up with your own release date based on the features that we said are still missing. Do you think you guys will end up making a destruction software? Yep, absolutely. Will all the Gen products become integrated, like a terrain with water lapping on the shore where a campfire burns? We've been toying with the idea of something called EmberGen, which will kind of have all the tools in one, at least the exports, but I don't know. And there's ways, because everything is kind of integrated and the way that our API works, maybe one day we could actually release the thing that what do we do for April Fool's? It was called Merlin. It's kind of a joke or whatever based on you know who. So Merlin, the wizard, and maybe we would call it that or something, but I don't know. It's just a joke. But anyway, yeah. So merging all tools, I don't know. That'd be really, really complicated. We want the tools to be easy and accessible. And if you right click and there's just 50 trillion nodes and 57,000 shelf tools and all that, that is like the antithesis of ease of use and speed. So we're probably not going to do that. But I would like us to, because say for instance, for Whitewater, you often need to do like a pyro simulation for all the mist and smoke and whatever. So there might be kind of a LiquiGen, EmberGen crossover once we get to that stage, if you know what I'm saying. So, may have been mentioned already, is there a tentative EmberGen 2 release date? I would say safely, tentatively, I feel more comfortable in that, probably sometime in 2024. We might have a beta before then, which I think I've mentioned on streams in the past, but it's just, we're rewriting EmberGen from scratch, so I have no clue. And don't even quote me on the 2024 date, but I really would. We are hiring more resources and expanding the 2.0 team, so I think that 2024, just interim, that could be December 2024, so it could be like a year and a half from now, or more, probably 2025. I have no clue. But yeah, we try not to do release dates, and we'll just surprise you when it's ready. Is there any workflow between GeoGen, LiquiGen, EmberGen? You'll just be able to import stuff between them. So, let's see, and you still can, blah, blah, blah. You were young. I am young, that's why I don't want to sell. I want to be you when I grow up. Thank you. Let's see. Hello. It is possible to export VDB with lighting. An example is the rocket launch with fire color to follow the simulation. We want to experiment with custom channels. Somebody said, "Love you, man. You were really making this industry go in the right direction." Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Merch. Yeah. You guys have completely innovated the VFX industry. Keep it on. Thank you. Do you think you guys might end up making destruction? Oh, sorry. I already read that. And it looks like I'm pretty much at the end of my comments here, but see, one slight concern I have is the focus on the path tracer. While it's cool tech, most LiquiGen users will already have lighting and rendering pipelines in place. I hope interoperability is a priority. So one of the things, Mario, is that we want to innovate on the rendering so that you can see what the bounces and all that stuff of the refraction, etc. will be like. And I want to experiment with some new, unique ideas on compositing things like path traced, transparent liquids. And so there's a lot of reasons why we're building the path tracer, and we will continue to focus on the path tracer because we think it's the right direction. We're here to innovate, but then again, I understand that everybody wants to possibly render this stuff in another tool or whatever, but I really think that if you import your backplates or import your scene or whatever, it will be far, far faster for you to render in LiquiGen than in any other tool, and you will have the interoperability that you're looking for directly inside of LiquiGen. Say if it takes many hours to render a giant waterfall in some other renderer, it might take 20 seconds inside of LiquiGen, and then you can export that pass, especially if it's like a waterfall, because a lot of the times that stuff is opaque. And maybe we could come up with new things like refraction maps and all kind of stuff to help you layer it over and help give compositors that job while you just make the core simulation and the output. But yeah, so, and then also we need to market, and like we're not going to market with like some dull whatever, and like I'm not going to wait 50 flipping hours for some other renderer to catch up when we can just do it in real time. So sorry for calling that out, but that's just my feelings about it. And so let's see, DebrisGen, your products are astonishing. BreakinGen, the WitcherGen, any wet map support? I hope so. I would like to make my trains and stuff without seeing EmberGen. I agree. Missed the LiquiGen stuff, but wanted to say, wow, groundbreaking stuff. Is there anything you guys can't do? There's a lot we can't do, but we're working on it. Is it possible to make environments in GeoGen like UE5? We're going to have like biome support and stuff, but that's kind of different. Displacement gen, 3D texture generation in real time. Could be interesting. Let's see. Any plans to implement AI into your software? Come on, man. Why would I do that? I don't know. Honestly, we can brute force stuff way faster than AI can generate it. You can get the result that you actually want from our tools versus writing a prompt and being like, oh, I want to have these 75 variations, and then you sift through all this shit and it doesn't even look remotely like you want, and nothing's the same, and then like you can't direct the water where you want it to go and all this other stuff. I mean, we might have like AI for like colorizing the terrain or maybe stylization or whatever. We've put money into AI stuff before it was the cool thing to do, and it just wasted money, unfortunately. We were trying to do neural network stuff, but I don't know. It's not even a priority of mine. I think that art directable, artist driven tools, with very precise UI controls that's easy to use, real time, it's gonna completely steamroll anything that's AI generated, just right then and there, because at the end of the day, we're artists and we want to create, and we're selling to artists, not a bunch of AI bros. So yeah, I don't really that's my hot take on AI. And apologies if I'm getting like defensive. I'm not defensive at you. I'm just defensive at the thing itself. So let's see. Anything else? Is it possible to make environments? I already answered that. What about grouping nodes and importing groups similar to Blender without the ability to combine your own groups and projects? All that stuff doesn't help you much. I hope that we'll be able to take nodes in any of our softwares and make it a function that you could kind of load and paste in any tool. So if you have a cool like base terrain and you want that to be your thing or whatever, or load like certain terrace functions or whatever, I want you to be able to do that stuff. Hopefully that's what you're talking about. Will we be able to reload caches in EmberGen or LiquiGen to render them like multiple sims? Yes. If you saw one of the sparse demos that I did with a bunch of VDBs popping in, you'll be able to load VDB sequences and render those all in. So we want to be able to support, say hundreds of cloud VDBs and render skyscapes and skyboxes and all kind of stuff. Maybe even generate HDRI maps and stuff like that from EmberGen 2.0 one day. Let's see. Still catching up. Let's see. How is substep handled in LiquiGen? It's not right this second, but hopefully we can get something with substeps. Surface tension, viscosity. Viscosity for LiquiGen is coming after release. It's a beast of an algorithm, but I think we're going to have surface tension. I missed the stream. Was there a release date announced? But I explained how you could possibly theorize about things to hold you over, to keep you excited. So go back and watch the slides. AI is lame. AI has utility, but not here. AI sucks. Yeah, I don't know. There's too much controversy and too many bad either gray hat or black hat uses of AI. I don't want to associate it with it for now. Do you plan on making a textbook or manual for your cool software? docs.jangafx.com. It is one of the coolest documentation things that you'll ever see, and it's actually so good we made a trailer for it on our YouTube. Many GIFs, whatever, and whatever animations, videos, all kind of stuff about EmberGen, and we're gonna have a really cool manual for all of our other tools. Hey, hate to break it to you, AI is here to stay. I think so. I think it's here to stay. I don't know if it's going to be as controllable as people think or hope for. But I could be wrong. Maybe maybe our company will die next year because of it. Who knows? Do you plan to release Unreal Live Link plugin in future updates? Yeah. I'd like to have EmberGen and stuff like that live in Unreal. Can we scrub back and forth of a sim? In EmberGen 2, there's a special cache button, and it will export just a 2D render, and you can scrub that to scrub back and forth. And we'll probably have the same tech for LiquiGen. It just takes too long to cache to disk, and it's huge and whatever. Is there a possibility to group nodes and then make one node to simplify the node view? And then we dive into that group node to see how the other nodes that combine each other. That was a tongue twister. But yes, that's kind of like the function idea that I had. Will Unreal eventually buy you guys and implement this in real time? I don't know. We applied for another mega grant, though, so hopefully they will approve it and give us more money. Because we got a mega grant one time a couple of years ago, but I applied for a lot more this time. We're also going to apply for separate mega grants for each tool, which is pretty cool, because I think we can do that. Since you are working towards a 2024 shipping date, are you taking into account Material X or OSL shaders, which are now supported in UA and is standard for materials across softwares? We don't have any plans at this time for those things, but if you want to, fill out the LiquiGen survey or whatever, if we have a GeoGen survey one day, and we might look into implementing it. We want to kind of like standardize colors and things like that, but we're not there yet in our development. But yeah, so it's not a no, but suggest it, and if more people suggest it, then we'll look into it. But if we're in UE, we're more focused on games, and games don't use those things. I would love to be able to import a point cloud from a CAD-based software to GeoGen and art direct a real-life terrain. We'll probably have that. Thank you for the thorough answer on my path tracer question. It's great to hear your thought process behind it. All valid and interesting points, especially of passes and if passes and comp are thought of. Thank you, Mario. Yes, we're here to innovate and not exactly do what everybody else does. There's a reason why we're JangaFX and kind of why we build everything ourselves. It's why we're not a plugin for anything. It's why we build all of our own libraries. We're very meticulous and drilled down, and our eyes get big whenever we think about using somebody else's libraries or whatever. We're just going to build it all ourselves. And, we see the way that the industry is going and the stagnations that's happened. And, say, for instance, if, Houdini comes in one day and, they offer, full real-time, simulations, I think it's only a matter of time. You know, I respect the people who work over at SideFX, and I think that, you know, their work is absolutely incredible. I mean, look at all the things that they've done. You know, and I think that eventually, probably not anytime soon, but eventually they will catch up on speed. And so from then it's, well, you know, what are our competitive advantages, and why are people going to choose us instead? And by thinking differently, not necessarily reinventing the wheel, but just advancing the processes versus keeping all the old pipelines and all the old stuff that people have been doing for many, many years. I mean, the whole reason I started this company is because I was pissed off at the pipeline. I was really angry at how things were so slow and they took days and my computer crashed and all this stuff. And so just want to make sure that we focus in on new technology and just kind of go our way. We guide it with user feedback and user interaction and all that stuff. And we want to make sure that we implement things. That's why we have this LiquiGen survey. Go fill it out. It's in the description. Yeah, we want to make sure that things are well thought through. And if we make a mistake, we're going to own up to it. Just like in my email, if you got my email, 2 days ago, we sent something about Black Adam, which is a movie with, you know, The Rock and all this other stuff. I think it's owned by Warner Brothers. And so they released it, I believe, last year. And we posted a video and we're like, look at all this EmberGen. It's so amazing. And we were told that it was EmberGen. However, through, you know, miscommunication, whatever, EmberGen was used in the virtual production of that, which is awesome because that means, say, The Rock or whatever saw all that stuff live on the virtual production set. But the final simulations were all Houdini and Axiom and whatever. And despite that being sad for me, I was very excited to have that as a showcase piece, because I'm like, man, look at this, EmberGen is finally there. Like, we finally got the showcase piece, all this stuff. And then it comes out, you know, some other artists who worked on it were like, hey, by the way, we think that this is misconstrued. So thank you to those artists who came together. And I did a takesy-backsy on the video. So I apologize. But yeah, I didn't want to misrepresent EmberGen in any way. So we own up to our mistakes. I try and be as transparent as possible. And so, let's see. Maybe he meant faking physics sims with AI. It's proven tech that ML can be trained to help simulate physics for liquids. It's just makes it faster and simulate things this way. Maybe. Can't wait to play with this. Let's see. AI is a tool if you don't want to use it, and if not, so not use it. Don't do anything for yourself, I think. Yeah. So let's see. For Morton, so Vasvik says, for EmberGen 2.0, I plan to have render scrubbing and some kind of sim scrubbing as well, but I want to find the best compromise between quality and performance in the end. And then Renderman says, Material X and USD suck. Most industry formats suck. Here, I said it. But then again, I don't know if they suck. A lot of people are adopting USD. I like the idea behind it, but it might be kind of bloated. We'll see. Martin says they do, but they're here to stay. Yes, they are. Are you guys planning on tackling rigid body and soft body stuff someday? Probably. What about rendering a flipbook? Is it also real time, or it takes time? Rendering a flipbook is real time. Yes. More or less. It takes the amount of time that it takes to simulate the sim, which is a few seconds, 20 seconds, whatever. Still, a native plugin inside of the solver choice beats standalone stuff. You are probably right. But then again, no plugin is ever going to be as fast as standalone tools. And one day we will be the DCC. So mark my words. One day you'll just be using the JangaFX Mega whatever. And that'll be the thing. We'll see. When are you going public? Need to buy some JangaFX stock. I don't know. Please don't sell to Adobe. Refer to my old comments on selling out. If they offer me $1 billion, or like $20 billion, what they did with Figma, I'm probably going to take it. I only have one life, and I want to go spend money on. I'll buy 4090s for every one of our customers if we get offered $20 billion. Clip that one. I second on investing in Jenga if possible. Is your GPU liquid cooled? Nope, but I don't know. I'm not going to show it, but over there are my case panels. I have my case opened up. I don't have any case. It's just pure airflow onto my GPU. People should enjoy learning instead of wanting everything served on a plate. Kind of agree with that. Any idea on plans of implementing purchasing power parity like Gumroad for your products? $400 for an Asian customer is very high. This is something that I've thought about quite a bit. I agree with you in some instances. I don't have a solution yet, but I do want it to be affordable based on, what would you call it, territories and things like that. But I don't have any solution right this second. As always, if you have a credible case or whatever, you can always email us and ask for a discount code. It's rare that we give them out, but in certain situations we have, because we want to make sure that you have access and whatever, and we'll take that any day over somebody cracking the software. So, yeah. That's probably the coolest thing I've heard in a while, and I'd rather sim the beach than go to the beach. Indeed. I'll take a second 4090. If you sell JangaFX, we'll stop being the pro-consumer pro-consumer company for sure. I agree. Do you plan in LiquiGen something like Ocean Sim, beach waves, maybe boat wave? Absolutely, of course. It's LiquiGen. How much control would you say will people have with LiquiGen in comparison to Houdini? To be honest, I don't use Houdini very much. So, especially not for liquids. I've always been more of a pyro sim type person. But that's why I want you to fill out the survey so you can tell us what problems you have with your Houdini sims or X particles or whatever. And we will make sure that we can fix stuff. So, yeah, but I would say that you will have a lot of control over your liquids. So, yeah. I'll catch you guys later, somebody says. I hope the guys in the Titanic sub service, almighty willing. I think maybe you're talking about the lost Titanic submarine. Oh, survive. Yeah, I agree. That's a terrible thing that's happening. And so, let's see. Multi-monitor support. I want that too. It's on our list. I made a GitHub task not too long ago, I think, for that, because I really want to be able to drag things onto multiple monitors. And so will it be possible to change temperature in LiquiGen? Right now, I don't even think we have temperature, but we might have something like temperature to create circulation and convection currents and things like that, but I don't know. Well, it seems like that's pretty much the end of things. Hey, Niall. Sorry if that was loud. Hey, please don't give up on ML fluids. So I think here's my thing, okay, on AI. This is my stance. I'm not against using machine learning to help serve in faster generation of actual fluid dynamics, right? I'm not opposed to machine learning to help us improve our algorithms or our speed or path tracing or whatever. I'm not opposed to that, and I want to fund more of that. We need more money for that, but I want to fund that. What I'm against is typing in a prompt and then having no control over what your output is and spending hours and hours doing that, because the quality is going to be there. I'm against that. That, to me, is against artistic principle. And people who call themselves artists who do that, you're not a fucking artist, okay? That's my thoughts on it. This is not a company. This is not a statement from the company JangaFX. This is my own personal opinion. Blah 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 blah. Even though I'm the face of it, but that's my thoughts on it. So AI stuff like that, don't agree with it. Machine learning for things like liquids or pyro solvers or whatever, I'm definitely on board with stuff like that. And in that case, that's where I think AI can definitely help. But as an artist, man, I mean, I am such a proponent for artists, and I mean, I'm building tools, or not even me and the team, we're building tools, and we want to ensure that we uphold artistic integrity, and that's kind of the whole point behind our company. So, yeah, definitely cool. Exactly. AI doesn't have artistic eye and zero emotion. And you know what? You're going to see all these little prompt writers and all this other stuff. After all the grifting and everything disappears and whatever, they're going to find the next thing to go to. I went to a business meeting a couple months ago, and somebody's like, hey, like I used to be a big crypto bro and all this stuff. And, like I lost a lot of money and now I'm trying to get into AI. Does anybody have any resources? You see kind of the intention behind it. There's a lot of money grabbing and all this other stuff. If you go out and trying to money grab, your business is gonna fail pretty hard. Look at, say, FTX. Look at some of the other big crypto firms that have failed and have been caught in Ponzi schemes and all this other stuff. We're going to see a lot of that in AI too, I think. I read an article that's like AI firm raises $130 million and it doesn't even have a product yet. They just said that they're going to build something on AI. How ridiculous. How ridiculous. It's a bubble. It's going to pop. So, but this isn't Nick Debates AI stream. I know it's turning into that, but anyway, and this is a recorded thing, so I got to watch what I say, right? Regardless, I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully your draws have dropped on LiquiGen. Thank you to the 160 people who are still with me. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully everything, I'm not going to become too controversial. So, and lastly, someone said, where can I buy JangaFX merch? I will send out an email when our store is live for the merch. I know that a lot of people want it, and I want money. I'm just being honest. It helps fund the software. So, but I'll try to, hopefully we can get the t-shirts to not cost too much and ship them all around the world and stuff like that, because we have customers everywhere. But yeah, either way, thank you very much for joining the stream. I think this was the biggest stream we've ever done. I think we had like 500 people at one time, which is crazy. And despite some of the stream technical problems that we had with path tracing and whatever, I think it was really awesome. We'll probably put out a couple of LiquiGen R&D videos that are full real time, whatever, in the future. And I think that'll be really cool. Hopefully it'll kind of hold you over and go buy the suite or upgrade to the suite. I think you can upgrade to the suite from your accounts now. If you can't, email support@JangaFX.com, and we're happy to upgrade you to the suite, and that funds LiquiGen and GeoGen's development. And we want to hire more people for those teams. So, let's get some more moolah in. And I did the stream today to prove that we're putting a lot of funding and stuff behind these projects. So I really want to innovate. I want to win. We all want to win. The team wants to win. We're hungry. And, we're going to take some pretty big bites out of the competing tools. And, LiquiGen was honestly the star. And GeoGen has some pretty fucking awesome stuff happening with it too, especially some of the path tracing and some of the new terrain nodes that we have. Man, it's awesome. I love it. So I'll catch y'all later. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will catch you guys on the next stream. See ya. I like being really awkward at the end of the stream because it's fun.